Welcome back. Thank you for continuing being with us. But in case you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Jain Wambui. We are welcoming you to share with us your thoughts in regards to this discussion, and also let us know where you are watching us from this Tuesday morning. We are using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is always at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jain Wambui. And should you be leaving the comfort of your space, you can always stream us live. Our website is www.kbc.co.ke, and you'll be able to keep up with this conversation. So from politics, we now move on to education, and more so the state of higher education in our country. This is a conversation that we have had multiple times here on Good Morning Kenya, just to paint a picture, of what the situation is and what more needs to be done, especially so during this time that we are transitioning from the 844 system onto the CBC curriculum, which in a number of years will also be affecting the universities and colleges in our country. To help us with this discussion today, we have Dr. Owen Ngumi, who is the Dean of the School of Education, Arts and Social Sciences at Ztec University. Good morning.
Good morning, Jain.
Karibu sana to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now let's just dive straight into this conversation. But first, let's start by understanding a bit about Ztec Universities.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Ztec University is one of the private universities in the Republic of Kenya. It was initiated in the 90s as a college, a mid-level college. And then it transitioned into a university in 2014. And it was granted a letter of interim authority. Between 2014 and present, we have been preparing to become a fully accredited, fully chartered university.
Yes.
And the process is ongoing. And we are expecting to be chartered anytime this year. Very soon indeed. Currently, we have a population of about 7,300 students. We have degree programs, diploma programs, and certificate programs. We have currently 3 schools or faculties, as some of the universities call them, with the School of Business and Economics, School of ICT, Engineering and Media, and then the School of Education, Arts and Social Sciences, of which I'm the Dean.
You're the Dean.
Yes.
All right. So over the years you have been in the industry, and prior to joining Zetech, from the discussion you were having earlier, you were in another institution. What is your general overview of universities and colleges in our country from an educator's point of view?
Yes, like you have rightly said, I was at Egerton University before Ztec University, so I've had both experience in public institutions and private institutions presently. Now, university education is very critical in the Republic of Kenya, as it is critical in other countries. And over the years, there is no country that has been able to develop, to become a developed country without putting emphasis on university education, because it is in the university education that we anchor research, we anchor innovations, we anchor all these kind of technologies and developments that we see. So currently, I would say that the state of university education in Kenya is faced by a number of challenges. The most critical of them being funding. Because over the years, especially in the private sector, there has been the low number of Form 4 graduates who have passed to go to university, and the competition with the many universities that are there has made a small number of students want to join private universities. In the public universities, the capitation that they get from government has been reducing on a yearly basis. That has put a strain on the running of the universities. But by and large, even amidst the struggles, the universities are trying to push on. All private and public universities have very dedicated staff. A lot of parents and students have confidence in the education in the private and public universities, and therefore they are continuing to bring their children to come and learn. Others, even adults and working people, are continuing to apply for courses in the universities. And so the universities only need more support, and they will excel.
All right. Now, we are still in a time where the country's economy and almost every sector is recovering from this pandemic. For your institution as Ztec University, what are some of those effects that you suffered as an institution that can be tied back to this pandemic that we have been witnessing as a global population?
Okay, at Zetec University, when the pandemic came, it was declared in Kenya, and a lot of institutions had to close because of the close physical contact that was discouraged.
Yes.
We transitioned all our students into our online platform. Our Zetech Digital School spearheaded bringing all students on board so that they can learn from home. And so there were no students in the university for the entire period that the pandemic had had the adverse effects. And we were able to teach all our students without fail. In fact, maybe the delay to transition the students from face-to-face to online was probably just a matter of days, maybe like 3 days to a week. And we had all our students. So we did not interfere with our academic program at all. We continued. However, there are also challenges that are to do with learning from home. A lot of students were having issues with connectivity to the internet.
Yes.
Of course, it requires money, and some students would say that they do not have money. But by and large, we were able to surmount those challenges. There is also the issue of revenue, because online students will not pay the same money as face-to-face students. So there was reduced income for the university, but we were able to survive, and we were able to run our programs at high quality. Yes.
Quality not compromised.
Quality not compromised. Learning online does not compromise quality. It does not compromise quality at all, because we have checks and balances to ensure that our students are attending classes, the classes are interactive, we're able to do assessment online. We even give exams online during the COVID time. And we even now, we are being encouraged to continue with the same process, because especially students who are far away from the university prefer that mode. And therefore we are continuing. And even our current students that we have, we are giving them both face-to-face and online learning, so that they have experience. Yes.
Now, this brings me to the curriculum that we are seeing as a country. We're in the process of transitioning from the 844 system to this competency-based curriculum. And in a number of years, the first lot of CBC will be joining institutions of higher learning. But we have seen a lot of uproar, and especially so from parents and even teachers, in regards to CBC. Looking at universities and where you are as an educator, do you feel CBC has the potential to revolutionize the education system in our country?
Now, my research about CBC tells me that it has been a very successful system in some European countries, especially the Scandinavian countries.
Yes.
In Finland, which is touted to be the best in offering education, they have CBC. So it is a good system for us. But it requires a lot of resources. It requires good preparation. For instance, at the lower levels, you find that in Finland, classes do not have more than 25 students. And every class has 2 teachers. There is the teacher in front of the class, and there is the teacher among the students going around helping the learners. The facilities that are required are within the school. So the learning is within the school. So our country has picked a good system, but it needs to invest heavily on it so that it becomes successful. The uproar maybe is because of lack of understanding, or maybe because of the strained resources that are there in the schools. For the universities, where we have a few years before the students get there.
About 6 or 7.
About 6 or 7,
yeah.
Not many, few years. But that gives us time to prepare well for the students when they come. Competency-based will require reorientation of our programs so that the approach that we take is in tandem with the approach that has been taken by the basic education, so that the students don't feel lost when they come to the university. They will be able to fit in. So currently, we are sensitizing our staff. We are training them so that they get ready for CBC. We are also reviewing our programs in view of CBC so that they are in tandem with the new education system.
And that actually brings me to this phenomenon that we always see year in, year out, where we are having thousands of graduates finishing their studies, graduating and, thrown into the labor market, but so many of them end up unemployed. Now, looking at the programs that are being offered in most universities and colleges, do you feel that there's some that are redundant and some that need to be scraped out in order to accommodate courses that are more relevant to the job market, that there's actually a link between courses and the labor market?
Okay, that is and it has been a very tough question. The issue of the number of students that are graduating from the universities is because of our population. Our population is growing, so you expect that there will be more students joining education system and also being channeled out of the education system.
Yes.
With regard to employment, universities cannot be responsible for employment. Ours is to prepare students for the job market. Ours is to ensure that by the time the students are graduating, they have adequate skills to fit in one segment of the economy or another. Now, the situation in our country is that the economy is not growing at the same rate as the population. And as long as the population grows faster than the economy, and the economy is the one that is supposed to produce opportunities for these people who are coming out of universities and other tertiary institutions.
Yes.
There will always then be an oversupply of graduates who are not being absorbed by the economy. So it is really not to be blamed on the universities. The economy has to grow, has to produce the necessary opportunities. And that's why you find that even the politics of today, the campaign is about economics. We are talking about economic revolution. Every politician is talking about creating jobs. Now, until those jobs are created, we will have an oversupply of graduates in this republic. Now, about redundant courses, there are no redundant courses in the universities. All courses in our universities currently are useful. The only thing is we have to keep changing with the trends of the world. Like today, we have a lot of technology around, and no graduate, no professional will be expected to be successful in their place of work without embracing technological skills.
Yes.
Therefore, gradually, we continue to revise our programs and accommodate the technology that is coming so that we are in tandem with what is happening in the world. The issue of unemployment cannot be used to mean that we are not producing the right kind of graduates. And I always ask this question. Is there any graduate who has been given a job and has been unable to perform because they don't have the necessary skills? No. In fact, what is happening is that the opportunities are not there. Do we have companies, do we have employers in Kenya that are getting graduates from outside Kenya because Kenyans are unable to do any job? No. So the challenge is with the economy side to get the right opportunities. Staff development in the employers also means that there are graduates who leave the university, they join the world of work. The world of work changes because of the political, the technological environment that is there, and therefore more skills are needed. Universities, we develop short courses, we develop staff development courses for such people who graduated earlier to come back and get more skills.
Upskill, yeah.
We are doing that. So the universities are playing their rightful role, but the politicians of the day have to bake a bigger cake for everybody. The economy has to be big enough to accommodate all these graduates who are coming out, and even those that are coming from other tertiary institutions with the skills. If the economy grows well, we will not have this problem.
All right. Now, before we take this commercial break, we welcome you to share with us your thoughts, your questions, or if you're just seeking clarification, and you can be able to get so from our guest this morning. We have Dr. Owen Ngumi, who is the Dean, School of Education, Arts and Social Science at Ztec University. This is all about the state of higher education in our country post this pandemic. What are the lessons to learn? And looking at the curriculum that is being offered currently under the 844 system, what changes do we need to make to adjust to the new competency-based curriculum that in about 7 years, the first group under CBC will actually be joining these institutions of higher learning? Questions, comments, clarification are welcome using the hashtag #GoodMorningKenya on Twitter. We take a very quick breather. We will be back to continue with this conversation. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for still keeping us company. Still Good Morning Kenya is the hashtag on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. This is a conversation all about the state of universities. And to just pick up from where we left off with our guest, Dr. Owen Ngumi, who is the Dean, School of Education, Arts and Social Sciences at Ztec University. Still on that aspect of courses that are offered at universities, there is a proposal to sort of do away with the Bachelor of Education. And given you are in that sector, you are the Dean of the School of Education, Arts and Social Sciences. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, thank you. Now, the debate is still ongoing in the university circles, in the professional circles about this.
Yes.
It is a proposal by the Teacher Service Commission to phase out the Bachelor of Education degree, have students study a Bachelor of Arts degree or a Bachelor of Science degree, and then after graduating, go to the professional training in education. Like the way the lawyers have a Bachelor of Laws degree and then go to the Kenya School of Law for a diploma.
Yes.
That is the same model that is being proposed by TSC. The debate is still ongoing. Now, it will prolong the period that learners will take to get prepared to become teachers. Now, every proposal has its pros and cons.
Yes.
The stakeholders, who are mainly the employers and then the employees, the potential employees who are the students, need to be consulted to see whether this is the right approach. For us as trainers, we give our voice to the policy proposal.
Yes.
The deans are saying in the deans forum that this proposal is going to prolong the degree so much, and is there going to be adequate compensation for the graduates who come out of this training? Because if the training is now going to move from the current 4 years to maybe 5 years or more, when you employ this teacher, will this teacher earn the same salary that they are earning today? Or are you putting them at a higher notch now as professionals because of the length of the training? Because it is important. The length of training is an investment.
Yes.
And every investment must also have returns. So the other thing is, have we commissioned some kind of a research or a study to show that the current mode is not working for this country. What are the weaknesses? Can we be able to address them without lengthening the period of training? Because the lengthening of the period of training has a lot of investment on time and investment in money. And therefore, we might make the degree to become less attractive to people who are interested in teaching. So it has to have a multifaceted approach, and we have to involve more stakeholder engagement to be able to see whether it is a working program.
As someone who's part of the value chain, do you feel the pros outweighs the cons, or the cons outweigh the prospects of this particular proposal?
At the moment, I would be more comfortable with the current model. And if there are issues that needed to be improved within the model as it is, that is what I would entertain for now. Yes.
And what are some of those changes that you feel can be improved within the current model to just make sure that it is more efficient without needing to have an overhaul?
Okay. Now, the issue of CBC I have talked about.
Yes.
I have talked about that. The TSC is proposing a third teaching subject, because the current model that we have is that our B.Ed graduates teach 2 subjects. So TSC is proposing a third subject. So we want to understand why a third subject. Will a third subject make the teacher so spread that
overwhelmed
that they will not be able to deliver effectively, they will not be able to concentrate? Because teaching is supposed to be that one person is an expert in a particular area. A teacher of English is not an expert in mathematics. Therefore, instead of increasing the number of subjects that a teacher teaches, maybe you would rather strengthen the 2 that they teach so that they teach more effectively. Those are the kind of things that we should really be looking at. Because increasing the number of subjects, is it that the teachers are not having enough workload in the school? No, that is not the case. Is it that we are not having enough teachers around who can teach this third subject that we want to increase? No, in fact, we have many unemployed teachers.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's now move on from that aspect of education and now come to the institutions themselves. Among the many challenges that we have been seeing in universities and colleges and all institutions of higher learning has been issues to do with governance and the internal management of institutions. To what extent do you think the internal management of an institution has an impact in its overall way of offering education and being part of the education system, and overall affecting the impact that universities have in the Kenyan economy?
Okay. Leadership and management of any institution is very critical in the ability of that institution to achieve its objectives.
Yes.
We cannot downplay the role of the managers in effective running of the institutions. If we have good management of our institutions, then the institutions will deliver better results. And by better results, we mean we'll have better trained graduates in our republic. Now, there is a marked difference between how public universities and private universities are managed. The private universities are operated on a business sense, in that they look more at how they can deliver their services at less cost, without a lot of wastage, so that they are also able to break even. Because private universities do not have the capitation from government. The students who are placed by government in private universities, the government pays tuition for them, and that's all. On the other hand, in public universities, we have capitation for capital projects, for salaries of staff, and of course the teaching and learning resources for the learners.
Yes.
So public universities are dependent on the exchequer almost 100%. But the management now differs, Because the management of private universities, they must always look at what they can do with the little that they have. In public universities, because of the flow of capitation every other time, sometimes we have had issues of impropriety and imprudence in the use of those resources. Therefore, to strengthen all universities, it is important, one, to have the right leadership. Let us respect merit. If we want our universities to become the best, they must be run by the best people. So we respect qualification, we respect merit, so that we have the right managers.
Yes.
Secondly, let all institutions, public and private, look at ways of operating in an environment where money is scarce, where resources are scarce, so that we put money where it will have the greatest impact, and that is on the students. Let us not have a lot of money in administration and management. We should have more money put in the students to make sure that when the students go to the lab, they have the chemicals to do their experiments.
Yes.
When the students need an academic trip, they can be able to go for the trip. When they are out on teaching practice and field assessment, the lecturers can be able to go assess them with ease, because the resources are there to do so. So it all boils down on proper management. We must have the right attitude towards money. We should not look at money as a public money and a private money. No, it is all money. And should be directed towards ensuring that the life of the students is better, they learn better, they are trained better. Okay.
And speaking of money, there has been an uproar about, government placing students in private universities. Do you think this is a valid point of contention?
Well, again, it is an argument that is out there. However, it is important for Kenyans to understand that government is not forcing students to go to private universities. Students are selecting those universities. In fact, if you go to the KUPS portal, you find that the courses from both public and private universities are displayed there for the student to choose. And I think it is important for people to have freedom of choice. We are in a free country. If a student wants to study at Ztec University, for instance, instead of a public university, they should not be denied that chance. They are not being forced. It is them who are selecting. For instance, they want to do Bachelor of Education from Ztec University. There is a reason why students would prefer to come to a private university and not go to a public university. For instance, at Ztec University, we run 3 semesters in a calendar year. Therefore, our students who are admitted together with others who go to public universities, our students will finish faster.
Yes.
Because in about 2.5 years, they will be graduating. Those from public universities will go for 2 semesters in a calendar year and a recess. So they will take longer to graduate. Therefore, a student might choose Ztec University because of that. At Ztec University, we have a code of conduct for our students, including a dress code. So some parents may prefer to bring their children there because of that, and many other reasons. So we put our students first in private universities. We listen to our students more and more, and therefore they are spreading the word that this is the place to be. And therefore, I think that it is good and healthy competition between the private and public universities. And the public universities need to wake up to this reality, put their students first. You hear of riots in public universities. You hardly hear of a riot in private universities. Why? We listen to our students more. We address their problems promptly without a lot of bureaucracy and red tape. And therefore, our students live a more harmonious life with the university. And so we do not have riots and breakages and all that in private universities because of our approach.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me rather to the placement criteria that is used. You know, for most parents, they get frustrated when they get to that process. Like, okay, sir, you're supposed to go to university. What is the criteria what happens? From an institution point of standing, what is the criteria that you use when it comes to universities and the kind of students that you take in?
Okay. Now, the minimum grades for either a diploma program, a certificate program, or a degree program are set. We know in Kenya that a C+ is the minimum grade for a degree program.
Yes.
And then in every program we have cluster subjects. So ours is to present the programs we have, the cluster subjects that are required for the students to choose. But we also have a career placement services. In Ztec University, we have that office. So any student aspiring to come will walk in and will be advised in accordance with the grades that they have gotten and the courses that are available in the university. They will be advised by professionals on the right course to take. However, my advice is when we are advising students on the courses to take, whether we are parents, we are teachers, we are friends, the important things to look at are, one, the ability of the student, and the ability will be seen from the grades that they got.
Yes.
Secondly, the interest that the student has, because interest makes somebody to be creative and motivated when they are learning a course. It also makes them more creative when they graduate to seek opportunities than when they don't like a course. So interest is also important at the very beginning. And then, of course, we must be able to look at this across the opportunities that are available in this country. For instance, somebody might want to do nuclear physics in Kenya, but are the opportunities there? Somebody might want to become an astronaut. Is the opportunity there in Kenya? So before we develop those courses,
yes,
they have to look at what is available, what is the closest that they can, and also consider that they can also do a basic degree in the Republic and then go specialize in that field out there after their first degree, either as a master's degree program or a postgraduate diploma in a developed country where those courses are available.
Okay.
So once we are able to look at all those things, then the students can make better choices. We shouldn't force, as parents, as teachers, we shouldn't force students to take the courses that they don't want. What we need is to have a discussion with them so that they understand where they fit best.
All right. And speaking of just having these conversations with students when it comes to the courses that they pick, we are also alive to the reality that so many pick a course, 2 years in, they want to change the course and start over again in a different area. And this comes in with the whole question of career development services within the institutions that help students actually pick on careers that they can actually, that match them as individuals and ensure that they actually stay the course, finish the course, and maybe get a job after. How are you addressing this aspect of, students taking courses, stopping halfway through, starting all over again, getting halfway through, or dropping off and starting all over again? Okay.
That problem cannot be entirely eliminated from universities, but it can be reduced, it can be minimized.
Yeah.
From the onset, if a student makes the wrong choice of a course, they will have difficulties in it. If there were some irregularities with regard to how the grades were obtained, a student can also land in the wrong course. And we have had incidences like those in our republic. However, in our university, what we have a career office. We have a placement office. We also have a counseling office. And these students are free to consume these services so that they can be advised on how to progress. We also have, every time that the academic board and the Senate meets, we identify the students who are not doing well, and we put them in a program of speaking to them to find out what the problems really are.
Yes.
At Ztec University, we also allow parents access to their students' results. And we even hold meetings. We hold online meetings with the parents every semester. We speak with them and they ask us questions so that between us and the parents, we can be able to monitor the progress of these learners. Okay. So that if a learner is having difficulties, we can be able to assist them before it is too late. But every now and then, you will not miss one student or two who would want to change a course. But before we change the course, we engage a student in a program of academic advising and counseling so that we are able to understand whether it is truancy or whether there is a genuine reason why a student would want to change a course. And where we find that there is a genuine cause, we help the student to identify the right course.
All right. Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, we cannot finish without talking the aspect of mental health and mental wellness. For the better part of the past 2 years, so many people have been affected in various ways. Depression has been real, and we've also seen so many cases of suicide. And narrowing this conversation down to universities, colleges, and all other tertiary institutions, understanding the aspect of mental wellness in institutions, and of course, just anchoring from the most recent incident that we have seen involving the victim, Wangeshi.
Okay. Mental health is an issue that we cannot run away from, especially when we are dealing with young people. We have seen these cases in our universities. And mental illness starts with a simple thing called stress. That is the beginning. And this will be caused by many things. There could be economic reasons. There could be educational pressure. There could be social reasons. And then, if the stress is not addressed, then it will give way to those other deeper psychological problems like depression, like neurosis, psychosis, etc. So, our people have not understood the role of guidance and counseling in a human's life.
Yes.
In Africa, because of our culture and our stereotypes, people with mental problems are shunned. They are not looked at like patients. They are looked at as maybe people who have been cast, or sometimes like people who have brought problems on themselves, like people who are struggling with alcoholism. You find somebody say, musiba wa kujitakia. It is something that they want, but that is not the case. Mental illness is an illness like any other. It's just like a cold. It is just like a cancer. It's a disease. So, where young people are involved in educational institutions, we need to strengthen the departments of guidance and counseling. Yes. We also need to strengthen the health units so that we can be able to deal with the emerging problems of learners. And more importantly, prevention is better than cure. So we need to engage these young people. We need to talk to them every now and then, and we need to encourage them to open up about their problems, because many of them are becoming suicidal because they have been unable to talk about their problems. So they find like their problems are very overwhelming. Okay. We also challenge the parents to be talking with their children. Even if they are big, they have gone to university and so on, they are still their children. They need to be talked to. Parents need to share their own life experiences with them so that they understand they are not the first to face these problems and there are ways of dealing with these problems. So once we encourage free talk between our young people and the professionals, their teachers, their lecturers, their parents, we will have less and less of these problems. All right. Now, remember, the hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. I appreciate those of you who have sent in messages. And there's one, Joseph Baraza. And from this particular message, I'm presuming you're part of the value chain, because he's asking you speak about the aspect of funding in universities, because he says universities are broke.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, we have been reading in the media, so it is something that is in the public domain. And I will reiterate what I had said previously, that we need to do three things. One, the government needs to relook at the funding model of universities.
Yes.
Secondly, better management of resources within the universities. When the resources are there, they have to be used properly. And three, we have to look at students' funding, because students need tuition, they need upkeep. We need to increase their access to help and the amount of money they can be able to get there, so that we can have students who are more comfortable in the universities. Yes.
All right. Another question from Galib is asking, why is there always this animosity between public universities and private universities?
There is no animosity. In fact, we work very cordially. In fact, you are going to find that many of us lecturers, we teach across universities. You find somebody employed in a private university is doing part-time work in a public university and vice versa. You also find that we are moving across. Like I told you, I crossed over from a public institution to a private institution, and the vice versa is also happening. So there is no animosity. Probably there could be one or two areas where we might differ, or we might have some few hiccups, but really there is no animosity, and we are not in competition. We are actually in complementation. We complement each other, just like the way you have public schools and private schools, and the parents have the freedom of choice where to take their children, because the government cannot be able to handle all the services in the country. It creates opportunities for investors to come up with private institutions like the universities to complement what the government is doing. So there is really no animosity. We work very well. We attend conferences together. We are doing joint researches. We are doing a lot of things together. Okay. So there is absolutely no animosity. Maybe a misunderstanding could be there, a misconception, but we have no animosity.
All right, so that goes to you, Galib. There is no animosity between public universities and private universities. There's also Gerono who is pointing out, I'm paraphrasing this, pointing out the aspect of universities being over-glorified against smaller institutions, and yet there's so many people who cannot afford to go to universities, and this smaller tertiary institution can accommodate them for shorter courses. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, there is no over-glorification of universities. University education is important, just like middle-level education and training is also important. In this country and all over the world, we will need intellectuals who will be trained at the universities. We'll need highly trained personnel, and everybody will have their own place. And we will also need technicians. We will need technical people who will be trained at the middle-level colleges. It should not be about who is glorified or not, because the glory should be about productivity. It should not be about the institution. So we should be able to balance that. Yes, we have people who go to university. We also have people who go to other tertiary TIVETs, and there are also people who go at the very lower level, certificate and artisan courses. All these people are very important. For instance, if you have this building, the people who built this building, it was drawn by an architect. It was, the structures were done by an engineer. But there were those people, those masons and the casual people who came to carry the stone from one place to another, put a plumb line on the line to make sure the wall is okay. All these people are important. You cannot say that the architect is over-glorified. But you see, the mason could not have been able to draw this structure, but the architect did. So we all complement one another. When I look at the world like a garden of beautiful flowers, they are not all of the same color, shape, or even size. But when they are together, they are all beautiful. So the universities, the TIVETs, And the students that we train in all those institutions, together, they will make the economy to grow. None of them is more important than the other. But you cannot eliminate one at the expense
to accommodate
of the other.
Yes. All right. Now, finally, Cynthia Bahati has brought in the aspect of sensationalization, especially during this political year that we are in. And maybe from where you stand, what role do you think institutions of higher learning can play to just make sure that the youth, who most of them are in this institution, are not, carried away by the politicking of the day and sensationalized and ultimately ending up being the ones that are being used to perpetrate violence?
Okay. Universities have a very critical role because it is in the universities where research is conducted and disseminated to the people. And even currently in Kenya, our universities are very much involved in matters of peace as we gear towards the elections.
Yes.
Mount Kenya University this month is holding a peace conference for the Republic to bring together stakeholders to see how we can be able to have a peaceful country before the elections, during the elections, and after the elections.
Yes.
And many universities are contributing to that conference. We are also talking to our students, and we are encouraging them to participate in the elections by working for IEBC, by voting, those that are 18 and above, and most of them are, and not to be used by politicians to do that work for them. And we are appealing also to the politicians that because they are also parents, they should be able to mentor our university students. So they should not use them. They should not give them money to cause violence or to cause booing of their opponents and so on. Okay. We are encouraging our students to be mature, to be at that level where if the intellectual level has placed them at the university level, their actions should be in tandem with that.
All right.
Yes.
So I think that's a very good place to close this conversation, because politics is something that we cannot avoid, and especially so during this year in just less than 3 months to the general elections. Now, we have been speaking with Dr. Owen Ngumi. He is the Dean, School of Education, Arts and Social Sciences at Ztec University, just sharing his thoughts on the state of higher education in Kenya. Thank you so much for making time to be with us today.
Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you. That brings us to a close of Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for being with us through and through. We will be back tomorrow morning. For now, do have a lovely day. I am Jain Wambui.